This episode of Traditional Millennials is brought to you by Talent Over Hype and Candy Clouds.
All right, guys. We've been going for a minute.
Yes.
Now we're back.
Welcome to Traditional Millennials. New space, same us, and we here to tackle some topics. I'm Varsity P, host.
I'm Silvana, also known as the Conversational Lush on Instagram.
Yeah, what we're doing is we're trying to make sure that we have a visual aspect, but then still kind of have our live studio audience to be a part of it. You know, just to make sure our day one fans who locked in with us on IG Live still have an ability to connect with us organically, like how it was.
Yes.
So we here, a little bit of technical difficulties, but we get right to it. So, let's shake it off and get to what's going on.
And not even, I don't even feel like it was really technical difficulties. Not even. And of course, like, we love the show, and part of what made the show so fun and engaging is having our IG peeps with us to continue on this conversation and loan us your excellent and wonderful insights. And then we have our people who can catch us on the rewatch and continue the conversation. And I think that is awesome.
Yeah, I think it's dope.
So I'm super excited about this new format, super excited about the new space. And I'm really excited about being back. And we missed a couple of topics.
A lot.
Oh my gosh. So, the first one that had the internet ablaze was Housewives of Atlanta's Porsha.
Tell me more.
So Housewives of Atlanta.
Do
you even know about this?
I actually love Porsha. I don't
All
really
the
know
guys
about the
love
drama,
Porsha.
but I've always loved Porsha.
All the
She's
guys,
always been super dope.
I have
bell.
my
Shout out to Porsha.
I have my theories about why men in general and girls too.
She's a beautiful woman.
Love Porsha. Everybody on that show is beautiful. It's more to that. Porsha gives you the carefree, light-hearted vibe, and with that comes its issues. But in this case, for
super runaway girl, she just kind of has a cool vibe.
Super cool, but I said, it's more lighthearted and carefree, and I think that's what a lot of men enjoy.
I haven't absorbed that much.
Because you didn't think about it, but I think that's what she even gives off.
I don't like too much carefreeness, because then that means you could be unstructured. I like a little bit of discipline and structure.
Well, she has her businesses, so she has to be structured in some way.
I think life is about being lighthearted, at some extent. So I think she's dope.
Well, she caught a lot of fire recently.
Okay. Let's talk about it.
On the show, they introduced two potential new housewives, and one of them was a young lady by the name of Falynn. And we knew, we were introduced to her because Porsha went to her house.
Okay.
And Falynn and her husband hosted the girls, and
wow.
I was like, oh, okay, so I'm not even gonna hold you to that episode. I was just like, wow, what a great husband. He was waiting on his wife and her friends. And I'm like, that is amazing. You don't see that all the time. It was the other way around. And he's a breadwinner. He's a multi-millionaire.
We do that.
Yeah, they have several kids combined, and he was just like, what you need, Fallon? What you, bringing hookah on trays for them, just ladies. Anyway, so
nothing wrong with that.
No, it was dope.
I could see myself doing
it was
that for the queen,
dope, but somebody else liked it too. Somebody else liked it too.
It happens that way. Tell me more.
So, Falynn and her husband filed for divorce in January, right?
Okay.
But we know, breakups are messy. They're not always on sudden. So even after that, he was posting, and
I already see where this is going.
he was posting we go through it, but that's my rock, that's my boo. That's February, March. And now we're here in April, and he's posted up with her castmate. And I say,
is that Porsha?
Yes.
Ooh.
And it's a little more than a castmate, because at this point, the girls have been out for drinks together on IG, on Falyn's page, she's with Porsha and someone else, and on the picture. And now this very same girl got your husband. They're not divorced yet.
Wow.
So they're still technically married, and I don't, nobody's really bringing that part up. So girl code, this is a big major thing for girl code. It's kind of what the hell? Porsha broke girl code. Why? That is so crazy. And then Porsha was a big pimp with it too, because she had her ex and Simon at the barbecue together. You see how we are a main happy family, but nah, it ain't happy family unless Falynn in there. You missing the wife. Like, you missing the wife. And a lot of girls, just the internet was ablaze because obviously it's super sudden for them. Mm-hmm. Because it's kind of like, oh, they're engaged too, by the way. Porsha and the new man, they're now engaged. He's not even divorced from his first wife.
Okay.
And I don't know. There's a lot to say there. Here's my take on it. Mm-hmm. I try to be like not as judgmental, right? Because you can't believe in all these fairy tales about love, right? You can't believe in soulmates and then say, no, but you can't date this person that I dated. You can't see this person that I dated. Mm-hmm. You can't believe in love at first sight and then have all these restrictions. But I do feel like we have to and should kind of operate from a code of conduct and a little respect. It's because you did know her. You were at her house. Mm-hmm. And now you popping up with her man. Like, I don't know. That's a lot for me. It's a lot for me.
How close of friends were they prior to?
I don't think they were close friends prior to the filming. I don't think they knew each other like that. Mm-hmm. I think, well, Falynn said they had met through the husbands because the husbands are businessmen in Atlanta. So, you know, that's a circle that people frequent in. So the men knew one another. Got it. And that's another part of it. So, like, the men... So,
Porsha's old guy knew this guy?
Knew, yes. Through business ordeals. Just, like, not like besties, but they knew one another. And they seem to just be together, acting like nothing is the problem. So, it's like, guy code is a little different. But I could feel like Dennis might be a opportunist, and it's like, this man has a lot of money, a lot of property and influence. It's better that I keep him a friend than an enemy. Whereas girls were like, oh, hell to the no, Porsha is scum, and she is Mrs. Steal Your Man. Like, you know, she's the one that other women warn each other about. Like, don't bring girls around your man. Okay. Don't be telling girls what your man do for you.
Got it.
Because of shit like this. But it's kind of like, who should we really be blaming? Because, I mean, like, Simon is a part of this as well. Where's his respect for his ex-wife?
Well, so where do you stand at with it?
I do think it's extremely messy. Mm-hmm. I do feel like, okay, if it's real, maybe it would have been best to keep it under wraps.
Got it.
For a little while, because he's not even divorced yet.
Divorced from her?
His first wife.
From the woman that...
Right, yeah. He's not even... What was the point of bringing it out, except for, like, storylines and controversy? Is that real love or what? Like, what are we doing here?
I think that, one, we have to weigh it as... reality TV first.
Right.
So I don't know how authentic reality TV, key relationships amongst men and or women really are in real life.
Right.
You know, I think there's a lot of fronting for TV.
Right.
And if there's been many relationships that are established that way, who's to say if that shit isn't really, you know, authentic? Mm-hmm. I also think that it comes down to the loyalty of how you position yourself in life and depending on the loyalty of how you've met certain people in your travels. You know, I don't know if her and Porsha go hang tough like that for Porsha to feel like, oh, you done lost a good one and I done been around to see he a good one. Ooh. And I know some nasty shit you was doing on the side, so maybe let me just make my move. You know, I think that women kind of know some intricacies of women that may have them discount the homegirl to be like, well, you was cheating on that nigga anyway, or you was fucking around on that nigga anyway. Don't be mad that it's me now.
No, that's messy. That's messy.
I get it, but I think when we older, my thing is, are we playing for keeps or not? Because if Porsha moved in to play for keeps and like, oh, this was a good one, you fucked up, and now I'm going to take that and you ain't really my sis from day one anyway, then, like, fair game.
I mean, spouse poaching.
Studio audience, shout out to y'all.
And let us know what you guys think in the comments,
too. We see y'all in the comments, so y'all can chop it up.
Let us know what you think. Was Porsha breaking girl code, or was it just like all is fair in love and war? Mm-hmm. I think, like I said, that it is a definite messy boots situation. Mm-hmm. I never want to start my love with mess. I just want to say that. I never want to start it with mess. And if I can avoid mess, even by keeping it private for as long as possible, I probably would. But a lot of people are saying this might be the real deal because he got his house on the market. Mm-hmm. She's not joining the cast next season. And... you know, he's from Africa, and there talks about them going back to Africa. But he has like $40 million. He's worth $40 million.
I think we would have to examine Porsha's dating history and kind of see how she's kind of maneuvered through the circuit. Because I thought I don't keep up with her as often, and I've kind of felt like she's been connected and like been rode off the sunset a couple times in my mind. I'm like, I felt that she's been in situations where it was like, oh, this is the guy or something like that. So, if she's kind of moving around in a certain way, then, I'm not here to judge anybody. We all go through what we go through. But I think that, is it being perceived that way because that's the representation? Is it perceived, oh, she out here just trying to find a nigga, so she finally caught one and it was in a nasty way, so we feel a way about it, versus like, let's say a Karuchi who like went through a situation, was loyal to a dude, and now they broke up, and then maybe she moves on to somebody else.
I think it's her knowing the woman that's making it the messy boot situation. It's her like being in that woman's her house with her husband.
I think it's a fake storyline.
Okay, but she's not joining the cast next year. According to her, who knows what will really happen? It definitely does bring storyline. It definitely brings storyline and tea. Like, who wouldn't want to tune in? I think she even caught a special. She was supposed to have a Black Lives Matter special.
Imagine your friend getting engaged to your ex-husband.
Nay, are you fighting or not? This is another thing. I feel like girls will be ready to like.
But I think y'all gotta define friend. Like the way that you gave me the synopsis.
Associate. It's an associate, but no. But so, it turned from not friend to very friendly. To now we go.
That's the difference between.
Here's the thing. If we going out for drinks, you don't have free reign on my man. If we're now going out for drinks together here and there, you do not get to poach my man.
It's 7 women to 1 man. I think that's when girl code and guy code are a little different. I think guys weigh it based on how fond in or how close they are with the guy. If the dude is my guy like that, and he's had a certain level of intimacy with a woman, I'm a fall back. But let's say he's my man, but he ain't kill it. Like, he didn't sleep with her yet. He just kind of played around.
Is she open game? Is the open season?
Because I think guys can tend to hoard women. I think guys can tend to be trying to I'm the man, I'm not trying to tie nobody down, but I'm talking to 8 girls.
And y'all niggas can't have none of them.
And y'all can't have none.
All right, what about if it's wifey?
No, that's off limits. Everybody would know that.
I mean, I don't know, do they? Because I've heard of situations where guys definitely have tried to talk to wifey or ex-wifey, like ex-wifey.
That's because niggas are sleazes. But
here's another tea. Like I said, girls be ready to rumble. Like, it's an issue. Yeah. But when it happens to guys don't even... I feel like men don't even have the same
because we put our
permission to be upset and confront another man about his disloyalty. Because but what about him too? Your friend should be loyal to you too.
I think there's situations where it depends on what friend it is, and if he had the nerve to holler at your woman, I could be honest and say there were moments in my childhood.
Hey, Mr. New York.
Where if you tried to holler at my girl and you was my guy, like, we got to step out to the back and kind of have a conversation about it. But that's only if you're in an immediate circle. Like, you know my mama name and you've been in my house before, and we done like did certain
who are the biggest spouse things. Who are the biggest spouse poachers? Is it men or women?
I can't say. I think both. I think women play this I can't do things, but they do a lot of things behind their back. And we historically can see to a lot of women fucking a homegirl man.
Ooh.
Like, we could go to the best friend who came in town who want to wear certain things around the house because she there for a couple of days on the weekend, and you like you bitch, put some clothes on, my niggas right here.
That's why they be saying.
Ain't no nigga gonna come to my crib, stay over the weekend, then he gonna be walking around the house
with his dick out.
With his briefs and his shirt off. Like, that's not happening. It's not.
I mean,
and if you did that, nigga, you must not know who I am. And women done it. Like, I've even had women say, yo, my homegirl came, or a girl came over for the weekend and bitch was walking around with her ass hanging out. And
like the Players Club with the cousin. I do think that's true. I think, like, from my studies in anthropology, women have definitely been a proprietor of spouse poaching because it's just easier to, like, weed out a good man by the way they treat their current chick. Like, this is historically speaking.
Yes.
So, and I'm using, like, today's terms, but think about it like back then. How do you know that a man is a good man? he's out there hunting? How do you know he's going to take care of your family? Because you see him doing it with somebody else. And so historically speaking, anthropology, women would go ahead and spouse poach because it was just quicker. Yeah. It was a quicker way to figure out who was up for the job.
It's the track record. It's like, you want to see how a girl or a guy takes care of their kids if they have a kid, then to see how they would take care of your kid. And I think, again, men and women view certain things differently. So a man might be playing for kill or just for ego, and the woman is looking in that traditional sense, looking to be wed. Oh, wait, this guy knows he's already been married. That's why people who've been married get married again to people who've been married.
Right, because you already know the vibes.
Exactly.
Here's what it is with the Porsha and the Falynn situation. I'm not here for the sneak attack, right? I actually have I don't know, it's like a personal story. But my best friend now is dating someone that I used to date in high school. And they're gonna get married.
I love that.
And they got together when we were in college, right? But it wasn't a sneak attack. And I mean, that was a very juvenile relationship. Nothing happened, no sex, no nothing, very innocent. And she came to me though and was like, listen, do you mind?
That's fine.
And that is like, and I was like, of course not, no, hell no, girl, I don't care. But it was because she came to me. If she didn't, it kind of would have came off more fucked up.
What's funny is that, when I look at my life, I was a guy who grew up talking to girls. And I was always a solid dude, but we from a certain era where the cool guy, the regular cool guy wasn't always the highly demanded. It was the hustler. It was the more edgy guy. Yeah. So there were moments where there was girls who I tried to holler at and they kept me at bay. But then years later, I would happen to meet people who they're connected to, maybe a friend or a cousin that I don't know mutually through anything, but I'm in a different space now in my life, and I would try to highlight the friend or the cousin, and things would be moving forward until one day I get a call or a text, I gotta fall back. I didn't know you used to talk to my... And I'm like, that was like 10 years ago. We never had sex. Still the point is that... And it's like, wait, is there some salt there because I'm not doubling back when I was looked over before and now I'm in a different position, and it might be hard for them to see that me and you
could have something solid.
Doing some fire? I just think that it's nasty.
Yeah. No,
it's happened, and it sabotaged me a couple times.
I think that, it's both. It's a little bit of that too. It's kind of like, you still might get cock blocked, right? Because, if that's my homegirl and she's not okay with it, then I'm not gonna mess up my friendship. But it would be just better if that homegirl, like, why isn't she okay with it?
Yeah,
that's the thing.
It's the
Do guys give permission to guys?
Yes, like I've given permission. Like I've had my best friend hit me up, and be like, yo, bro, and this was a girl I slept with. This is a girl, he came over. We did a sleepover with her.
Oh, Lord.
And then,
it's like a swap.
It's more than one fly nigga. I'm not no ego. I have moved on. It was in a relationship.
Is she a hoe? Was she a hoe for that?
Inevitably.
You see? Girls can't win.
Inevitably.
No, that's not right. So he get permission, but she's a hoe. Like, come on.
Because it's based on what happened. Like, they didn't get married. Like, again, are we playing to win? Because here's the situation. If you my boy and you got a bunch of girls and it happens to be one of them that you never slept with, but you ain't trying to do nothing serious with her, yo, bro, what you trying to do with that shorty fire? I'm gonna make a move if I feel like we caught a vibe. And if we catch a vibe, we catch a vibe.
So just because it didn't last, she's inevitably the hoe?
I'm going to come even cleaner. Me and my girl now, me and Crown, I know her through my own history, but at the time, she was loosely connected to one of my closest friends.
Okay.
And he didn't sleep with her, wasn't doing nothing with it. So I'm like, all right, nigga, run that. Love is love, but if we catch a vibe, we catch a vibe.
But I think it's different because they didn't do anything, so that makes it lighter, right?
Of course it
right.
does.
That changes the narrative.
It does 100%. Wait, what they saying? He's a homemaker. So would you guys have the same reaction if Porsha would have asked the ex-wife?
No, I would have rather her ask the ex-wife. Like, I would have rather them to have a conversation than it be a sneak attack. Because imagine me, I host.
So here's
I host
question.
people. Imagine, I would. If I'm hosting people and there's a group of girls over, then next thing I know, me and my man break up, and then the next thing I know, one of those chicks is with that man. Everybody getting beat up. It's an issue.
So here's the question: why is it that women take more offense to the girl than the guy that they were with.
Girl code. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's why. And it's not more than. I mean, it can be. Just like
but guys
with a guy cheat, just like with
with their homeboy.
That's what I'm trying to say. Guy code is different than girl code, because I think girl code, we know that we can kind of control a lot of that behavior because men pursue us, so we could be the ones to shut it down. No, me personally, everybody's got to be held accountable. Everybody's got to be held accountable.
But girl code get tricky for the simple fact that women are always pursued. So with the fact that women are always pursued, women will tell a girl, "Oh, he tried to talk to me."
Facts.
And that downplay the nigga opportunity with another girl just because a girl said, "Oh, he tried to talk to me."
No, I think that the older we get,
that's nasty. No, you have to acknowledge that.
No, I'm gonna tell you that does happen. But the older we get, the less the he try to talk to me matters.
No way.
Yes,
not
way.
Validation, social media. Let me show you the DMs from 2 years ago. Girl, he tried to holler at me.
But maturity plays into that. So, for instance, if my person I'm dating with now, somebody's like, "Oh, well, he tried to talk to me," okay. That's not gonna be an issue to me.
To you. But the fact that she still said that is a problem.
But I mean, it's about how you handle it. I feel like the older you get.
This should be girl code that if he tried to holler at you before I caught him, and now I caught him, and I didn't know that, don't bring that up.
Ladies,
don't salt my game until he tried to holler at me. You know that's salty.
Us ladies know that that's what that is, so we don't pay that no mind.
No, it should be girl code. It looks like a lot of secret conversations and pillow talking. I agree. And as a guy, niggas have those talks. It's like, yo, if a nigga fucking with a shorty, or if I see my man, there's a dude who I'm really cool with who talks to a girl that I used to be sleeping with. Never nothing, but I never told a nigga, because if I say that, it's gonna be nasty.
Come through, Crown, because I feel like we be on the same type of time. Crown gonna say, Crown gonna say she gonna shoot the girl who try it, okay? And I feel you. It's just like, no, like, cause you know what it is? It's disrespect. It's the disrespect for me. It's like it's an issue. It's an issue for us, but we're broken up. I don't really expect you to hold me to that level if we're broken up, right? Especially depending on how the breakup went. But I do expect a girl that I entertain in my home to have enough respect for me, not to be the one, because you're disrespecting me now.
I agree, and I think to that level.
Thank you. Okay, let's answer this question from Shayway, because that's what I was trying to say.
Ex and her current fiance were actually friends. Is that him breaking God code?
Rashid.
Porsha's ex and the current dude.
Remember I told you they
friends.
Remember
or
I told you
associates. Be honest.
They were friendly. They were friendly.
No,
they knew
no
each other. But they were together. Like, hey, they were both together with Porsha in the barbecue. Why do guys?
If that's not my guy. If we only.
Rashid. Oh, she said she gonna beat you up, Rashid.
If we only kicking it because we have mutual girls that know each other, that's like saying, if I didn't know Moose, me and Moose is mans now because you and Crown were best friends. So you and Crown are best friends, and I happen to be friends with your guy?
It's separate. Y'all were actually friendly first.
We were friends first.
Yeah, through
girls
your business.
Met
yes,
us.
through us.
Ooh.
Yes.
That's nasty.
Yes.
That's nasty. That's nasty.
It
is.
That's nasty. I think that Dennis might be a bit of an opportunist.
That's nasty.
I don't know. I don't want to say because I don't know these people. So y'all, if y'all ever catch this, sorry.
But then there's a lot of guys that live through the ideas of one other guy's girls.
Okay, I'm gonna tell this too. I feel like I don't like. I need my guy to be a little more possessive over me.
Yeah.
I don't like a guy like just too okay with engaging with my exes or too. It rubs me the wrong way, especially if I don't know. It rubs me the wrong way. It's not like the quality I want to have my man to have.
I'm the kind of nigga that don't trip over the ex, but that ain't my man's. Like, I don't play friendly with the ex dude. Like, I think that there are certain lines where respect is given just for men, but you ain't my guy. Like, nah. Yeah. Like, it's not.
But see, that's because I feel like us women, we get permission to be emotional and react on emotion, but men have to stifle that shit. Because I'm like, I know that should be burning men, but they got to still dap a nigga up and act like they unbothered. Men got to act like they unbothered.
I think that there's a part of men in a certain aspect of masculinity that demands it. You got to stand tall through it. Like, this is the game. Like, this is the hunt. This is This is the rules of engagement. It's like, you out here killing girls or girls, you can't get mad because every nigga been a sleazeball at one point in time. So then to the dude who feels away, we would have to ask him, well, did you ever do that to somebody else? Did you ever do that?
I gotta get in the comments.
Yeah,
okay,
the comments
Crown
are
says the
crazy.
girls be looking for the next settlement, facts, and the guys don't care. Is that true? Do guys not care or they just hold it?
No, they caught one. She bad.
Does the ex not care? Her ex not care?
The ex not care that
She's with the business associate.
He gonna have to eat that. He care. He gonna burn. Of course. Of course.
I be want to know because the men be acting like they don't care. They were in the picture together.
No.
They were all three in the picture like, hey, how you doing?
Because you can't be a bitch ass nigga.
Dang,
you can't have to hold it down.
Is that toxic masculinity? You can't even say when you're
No.
upset or hurt by something?
I don't think. No, because it's so a loser. It's that. Don't be a sore loser. Like it's the rules of engagement. Unfortunately, if you didn't, okay, cool.
He knew he didn't have that African money.
Listen.
Oh, Dana said he been cheating and doing him. Valid point,
Okay.
Dana. Valid point.
Okay.
Valid point.
If I lose my girl, I can't be mad at the next man. I cannot. I'm going to be like, okay, I got to take that out. Because as a man, I'm supposed to do everything for my woman to make sure that it's hard for her to be pried out my hand.
That's a fact. I will take that.
Now, if she just doing some hoe ass shit, then I'm gonna feel great. I'm like, you lost one.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm failing to achieve what it is that is being required, I gotta take the L, baby.
You know what? That actually put things in a different perspective for me. So that's kind of the differences between the girl code and the guy code, and the reactions and even the expectations.
Yeah.
And that's a good point that Ms. Dana brought up. Like, he actually was doing him, so he probably like, damn, this ain't nothing but karma.
Yeah. And I mean, just because people are on people's arms doesn't mean that they doing what they gotta do to be
Crown,
there.
why you glad you ain't a man? Why? Why? I want to know. I always wonder, like, how would I function in society as a man? I feel like as a man, you can definitely drop so much of the morals and character that I have and get away with it. I feel like
I disagree.
I feel like, well, in terms of relationships, I don't know about in the rest of the world. I mean, like, just in the way you deal with women. Men are literally brought up from birth with excuses for their bad behavior. Oh, boys will be boys. That is the ultimate excuse for bad behavior. And women do not get that same pass.
There's aspects where you do with being emotionally.
That's what I'm saying, but not being like bad behavior, having bad behavior,
Never.
and like
You're a girl, you're supposed to be a good girl.
and skirting my morals and my
agree.
character. I wonder, like, if I was a man, like,
I agree.
what I'll be up to.
I agree. I agree.
Speaking of guy code,
okay, let's get to it.
you know, because it seems like guys don't really tell it off each other, but Joe Budden with the fuck off on his crew gang. That don't go off on me like that on the podcast, okay?
There's a lot of guy code.
It was giving me a Diddy tease, like, you don't deserve the money. Like, it was a lot going on in that, and I'm like, if we do a business together, I don't care who's the bigger name.
Yeah.
We all put in the work. I deserve to see paperwork. I deserve to know what I'm getting paid. That shit is bad business.
Yeah.
Bad morals, bad character.
Yeah, I think, you know, as being a major fan of the show, you know, I'm very conflicted as do I continue to watch it. And what I mean by that is I'm a huge fan of Joe Budden's, and I ended up loving the show, even like literally from coming from everyday struggle, but always loving his perspective. But when I began to listen to the podcast, I loved how they all work together. And I always saw it as a robot. Like, Joe is the focal when it comes to being out there, but they were a very strong unit that supported, you know, and had their own respective voices there. So I was disappointed in the public displaying of what occurred. I'm less concerned about the business of men in business.
Okay.
Because y'all all had lawyers, y'all all supposed to negotiate, and y'all all was supposed to make in your individual spaces that y'all lawyer teams did what they were supposed to do. This is not a situation where I believe that people were being taken advantage of specifically, more so than I think that people just rolled for the team on some love shit and didn't check the T's and dot the I's on all aspects of the business. And I think Joe Budden, also being an artist and a leader of that, didn't do a good enough service of making sure that they knew you see how we say, yo, this is a 50-50 breakdown. Me and you is 50-50. Okay, this is 50, that's 50, everything is 50.
Yeah.
It ain't, this is what we got. This is what you get.
Or this is your value, and then therefore, based off that, you get this.
I didn't like the fact that it played out publicly, and to me, as a guy code, these are my guys. I cannot air my folk out in public. I cannot do that.
And that he definitely did.
I cannot. And because he did that, I understood what Kevin Hart said when Kevin Hart stepped up. You know, I understood what some other people said when they stepped up. And I just think, but
what did Kevin Hart say?
There's two things. One of it is that I don't like people who see you win and they're silent up until they see a loss a loss. And I felt as though when Kevin Hart spoke out, I never heard Kevin Hart use his platform to big up the show. So it was kind of challenging for me to hear him finally want to chime in, like, I'm a big supporter of the show, but Joe, you did wrong.
What if you don't like the show? I don't like Joe Budden, and I don't like the show.
I only speak for people who said that they like the show.
Oh, okay.
He specifically came out with I love the show. I've always been a fan of the show, but now I'm going to use this moment to critique Joe. And I felt like if you love the show, you should have been shouting that you loved it, as much as you are willing to express what you don't like. Because I think when we get into, like, even later when we get into this male accountability and what it means, don't just critique me when you see something that you don't like, but you never celebrate me when I'm out here doing amazing things. Because then it becomes you just nitpicking at the things that you can pick apart, because we all have flaws.
I think Shan said they got confused with friendship. What did you say? I'm sorry, because the comments are something about, like, friendship and business. And then you were mentioning, like, guy code, and you're not really worried about the business aspects of it. But I feel like if you are my friend, I am going to make sure even harder in the business that we all get an equal share, or that it's a fair situation because we're friends. Like, I'm not going to approach it as cutthroat as I might have with a stranger.
I agree, but I also think that it comes down to the origins of it. Like, me and you created this platform together. This isn't Talent Over Hype with Silvana. This isn't the Conversationless with Varsity P. We jumped in through the pandemic. Traditional Millennials, this is our thing. I think Joe Budden has existed with Joe Budden TV, with reality TV, and if you want to be honest, he's worn the burden of being the social guy. He's worn the burden of being able to position himself with the humiliation of what going to Love and Hip Hop, proposing it to Harry, the Kaylin Garcia stuff.
That was before this, though.
But all of those things live and exist in the fan share that he gets outside of music.
Okay.
So then if he's able to build a platform on Joe Budden's TV and the Joe Budden Podcast, it's still named the Joe Budden Podcast because he started it without them, then brought them on. So I think what should have been in conversation at some point is, yeah, bro, you started this on your own, but we've helped build this thing out to what it is now. What should the business model of this look like when it comes to the ownership? Because it seemed to be the conflict was they don't have ownership in the Joe Budden brand.
Right.
And I don't know how an artist or he would feel to say, okay, I have to give ownership off of something that when I'm not filming, I pull stock in being on TV, humiliating myself or going through a lot of some of those hard, because he's went through marriage. What was it? The couples retreat.
Because he wants to, not because he wants to further the podcast, because he wants to further his bag. Like, come on.
But if that is okay, cool. So that's saying,
and you know what they add? They add level-headedness and validity to it, because someone like me is not gonna watch Joe Budden talk. I would probably watch if you had two other people on there, because I feel like, okay, now we have some level-headedness, less mental manipulation. Someone else there.
I agree. So let's say
they add value.
But let's say this. Let's say on our platform, which we started off mutually as partners. And let's say if outside of this, all I want to do is keep a low-key life, and then come and do a podcast, and people love it because I'm good at communication. But you out there doing with this brand, with this band, Kenny Clouds, you out there bigging shit up, and that's bringing more attention. When you come back to the table, one day you might have to say, yo, Rashid, I'm really out here expanding this reach further. Maybe this positioning of 50-50 and equity should look different because you specifically just do this aspect. And what I mean in that is Joe Budden has positioned himself a lot more outwardly to bring audiences. Like if we think about him being on Everyday Struggle with Complex, that brought a tremendous amount of ears to the Joe Budden podcast.
But in that same situation, and you came to me and was like, well, listen, I want to know, what's the numbers like? I want to know what am I getting paid? I want to know, can I get some ownership? I'm not going to be like, fuck you, I'm King Kong. Like, I'm not going to do that, especially on air.
I'm not going to go based on the personal conversations that they had.
No, that's what happened, because that's what he went on air and started talking about. That they approached him wanting this and this and this. They didn't do it on the set.
I know. I mean, we've already got out that he's wrong for airing it out publicly.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
That's
even if you
wrong.
came to me, I'm not gonna be like with that cocky ass attitude. Like, I don't know that.
Again, I'm not here to, because I don't know what happened and what transpired with the delivery, with him feeling they accused him of stealing. Because there was a lot of things that he even alluded to that said questioning him made it seem like they think that he's stealing and pocketing money. I just think that the real conversation is about equity and how they shouldn't have had it public.
Okay. Tim Freeze says exactly. Shan says that was the missing part. That's what lawyers are there for to handle, not on friend time.
It gets real money.
It does. It does.
So to me, I look at it and say, a honest conversation was supposed to happen around outside of who's doing the work to build the brand up versus what are the actual contributions we do on the podcast. Because once I leave here, if I'm out here doing all of this work to bring more lights back in, I mean more endorsers, if I'm getting the Cash App money, if I'm bringing bread here to make sure it's money in our pocket, then I should get a certain amount of money. I think that works on both ends. If you, Rob, I got a bag for us, I take 60, I keep 40. That's real.
I mean, I get it. When I was listening to their grievances, I didn't think anything they were asking for was necessarily unfair. They weren't asking for even splits. They were asking for information, quite frankly.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that to Shane's point, that perhaps they should have gotten lawyers involved. But again, that also is like, oh, you called your lawyers on me? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like...
No, but that's business.
Yeah, I feel you, but it's
business.
also kind of like, I shouldn't have to do that if we're friends. And I think that, our guy code.
Yeah, you do if I don't know how to communicate the information properly. Like now we talking about spreadsheets and numbers and percentages and what these terms and what this means, and who's to say that I have the professional skill set to even know?
Any other time Joe Budden has the professional skills to be everything: judge, jury, accountant, psychologist, psychiatrist. Like,
That's
but now
great.
but now all of, and then but he was throwing out numbers though. So I think the real issue was that he didn't want them to get what they were asking for. He didn't feel they deserved it. That's really what it was. Then he also didn't want to give them information. And then he went on a fucking rant about it.
No, but then you also got to say that he provided information to them and they didn't believe the information that he provided was valid. So then,
show me the book.
So then that means if you asked for accounting and the accountant sent you the accounting and now you question the accounting, now you're questioning things. So that means
why are they questioning things?
So that means that at this point there is no friendship if you're questioning what you asked for. If you asked for the accounting here,
well, I mean,
they literally didn't believe in what was submitted to them.
Right.
So that's a whole nother conversation. That kid, it's not like I didn't show you anything or he didn't show anything. They just didn't believe it. So that's way more about the accountability or the way in which they feel about his business dealings than it means anything.
And moral and character. And speaking of him and his business dealings, he came under fire almost immediately after that by Olivia Dope, a very respected DJ out of New York. And, she had a podcast under his branch. And she was very open about her situation with him while she was giving her podcast and how he kind of like sat in on one of her shows and his comments. And so this is a problem too that I have with like the Shade Room in particularly, and people who view that as their only form of news. However they write the captions is going to be literally how people respond and perceive the story. Like, and they can be very one-sided or salacious. And that's what happened in this case. The way the caption was written really didn't do her any justice. She was nervous. She was, anybody who's experienced any sort of sexual assault, you are already embarrassed.
Got it.
You are fidgety. She wrote everything down because it's another thing too. Like, God forbid you fuck up a detail. Now you're lying. But then she came.
It was courageous for her to come out.
But
and do that,
but
for sure.
But then she came under fire because it was that. Well, what we hear all the time, that one line. Why are you wait till now to say this? Oh, it's perfect timing now that, Joe is on his fall for her to have come out. Because I think for like 3 months she didn't say anything. And people in the comments were really like reaming her, letting her have it. And I'm only talking about the Shade Room because I honestly didn't see it on other blogs. So I don't know what the world synopsis was. But a lot of women...
Yes.
Were discounting what she was saying. A lot of women
were girl code.
We're talking about it. A lot of women was coming at her neck sideways, saying that she was a lie. They didn't believe her, and that it was an inopportune time for her to bring it up. Why are you laughing?
Because it made me think of something that I've said and laughed at it before. I don't think black women like black women.
Okay, I'm not gonna go there.
But
I think in this case, when it comes to sexual assault victims in general, this is the response they usually get.
I don't think it's sexual assault. I think anytime a black woman speaks on anything from a platform, black women speak down on it.
I don't think that's true. Okay. But I will say that I've noticed whenever a woman has comes out about sexual misconduct towards a man. And especially like in the case like this, when something else bad about him happened in the media, the first thing you hear is why you want to talk about it now. Or even if it happened a year, why did you wait a year to say something? Why did you wait a day? Why did you wait 2 months? Why are you saying it so soon? And I was really very disgusted with that. And that's why I was very happy that he came out and apologized and validated her. Because she wasn't validated by her community of black women. And
why?
And honestly, black men either. But I'm gonna talk to the black women.
Why?
I just told you this is what they were saying.
But I'm asking why.
I told you what my opinion was. I feel like whenever this is to me is a very subject oriented situation. Whenever it's sexual assault involved or sexual
but this
misconduct.
Wasn't sexual assault at all. This was like
it was. Sexual harassment and misconduct. He was like, let me see a titty. He was being very disrespectful. It's considered sexual harassment.
Okay.
Because it was on the work.
Assault. It was some inappropriate words and language being used by some insensitive
if she's at work and he's her boss, it's sexual harassment. Okay. And that's what the case was. So anytime it's sexual harassment, assault, rape, anything under that umbrella.
So we just put everything together.
I'm telling you. You said when does it happen? Why does it happen?
No, I said it's not sexual assault.
No, you can say sexual harassment.
Okay, cool.
Assault does come by words. So if I'm on my job and you coming into my job and you're using your verbal language, so you can assault me sexually by your words. So yes, I mean you can get into semantics. Period. Point blank. Okay. He apologized.
Got it.
He admitted what he did.
Got it.
And
was it
her
he
community,
did, or was it a community of people? Like what was it that was said? Specifically, just him.
Yes, him.
Okay.
Him. He sat in on her podcast basically and was just talking all kinds of shit. It's on YouTube, but it is edited. It's the edited version. So if you caught it live, you really saw.
Okay.
And you saw her being uncomfortable. But now if you go back and watch it, it's not there. Sexual misconduct. Right, yes. Yeah. So sexual harassment, not assault.
I mean, he's apologized for what it was. Mm-hmm. So that's male accountability there. So we can remove him.
He apologized thankfully for that particular situation, and then he validated her. But I wonder if he would have apologized had he not already been under fire for the Warrior Mall thing. I'm not sure. I'm really glad that he did. Though it is very important that he did. But to me, that sort of behavior, honestly, it just goes into the same thing of morals and character.
I just think that black men are getting to a position where they have to rebuild what it means to be a black man. I mean, there's barbershop talk, there's conversations like that where you have around women. There's certain things that women have been okay with men speaking about that were never right, but women have allowed it. And now there's a different space and time. We could go through a bunch of different podcasts that have males and women on set, and the amount of inappropriate things that happen that are not on a high enough scale for a Joe Budden's podcast. We could pull up many people who have podcasts with both men and women there, and some loose things are said. I just think that now there's a different conversation around what respect and accountability is, and what it means to just be a man who doesn't disrespect women in certain ways. That's umbrella kind of inappropriateness. So if the male rapper
Shan,
makes a song with a woman
please
rapper
don't act
and
crazy.
he talks crazy on the song.
Okay, so if we're writing in the studio and we have a mutual pen, as opposed to me being at work on my podcast, an all-girls show, and you sit in. No, okay, I'm talking to him though.
Okay.
And you sit in on my podcast and you're talking about my titties. I'm not a fucking rapper. Like, let's not play that game. Like, on a song, if we're both artists and we choose to make a sexual song and we have consent and we're consenting.
It says, "Does your field of work matter? Use Howard Stern or lip service."
Your field
is her show explicit?
No,
it's not that.
No,
okay, so
no, and it wasn't just the type of time. He wasn't a guest. You know, you're just like, she didn't have him on necessarily as a guest. He was just sitting on the show, and then he was being out of pocket. It wasn't like he was doing what he wanted to do, basically. You know, like,
okay.
You know, it wasn't a part of the content
of her show. If he's not there being a guest, he's just
and he was her boss.
Yeah,
that changes things.
Says things. Yeah, I think it changes things. So, yeah.
Yeah.
When it comes to women accountability.
And wait, I'm sorry, okay. Shane. Yes, your field of work matters, but honestly, even if you're a sex worker, you can get raped. Even if you're a porn star, you can be sexually assaulted. Okay, so I don't want to go into that. You don't have to be a fucking nun to be the only victim of sexual misconduct and assault and inappropriateness, okay? Because it's about consent and it's about right time, place. There's a number of things that are involved there. Mm-hmm. So we're not gonna say that, you know, only librarians and nuns are totally fucking innocent and therefore only them.
Agreed. So can we get to the next allegation and the next situation?
I need a goddamn drink. Did Brian Pumper sue the white porn star as he should? If the white porn star tried to do something he didn't consent to, that's sexual assault.
So speaking of assault allegations.
Oh, Charlamagne.
Our guy. Now we got Joe, we got Charlamagne. These are some of our favorites in the talking space.
Charlamagne. So what's up with Charlamagne is so layered. Okay, here's Charlamagne's issue. So, I learned that he was a ex-ball player. Kwame Brown, am I saying that right, guys? Kwame Brown.
I love Kwame.
Yeah, apparently, like, Matt Barnes and another ball player was talking shit about him on their podcast.
Got it.
And then here comes Charlamagne.
He's been out, Kwame Brown been out here wilding.
No, he's definitely wilding.
Get to it.
He's definitely wilding. Okay, so they were talking shit about him, and here comes Charlamagne. You know, it's a part of his brand. I'll give him that. Giving his 2 cents.
Yeah, he does.
And not only did he give his 2 cents, though, he brought up very personal things like hood stuff, street stuff
about
that Kwame's father, like what his dealings in the street, like you know, very family business, like you know.
And
don't
like
touch that.
Down in the public?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
So that means gloves off. Gloves are off.
Right. So it was like, you know, you're talking about family business. So now I'm gonna talk about your business. And Kwame talked about Charlamagne's. Guys, y'all got. I don't even know what to call the shits now because y'all make it sexual.
Yeah.
I mean, he raped a young girl, but that's not what the charges were because he was able to plead to a lesser charge. I'm gonna call a thing. Okay. He admitted it. So, and he brought that up. He brought up Charlamagne's issue with the teenager. Now, it was a group of men. And there was one girl, I think she was 16. And when Charlamagne spoke on it separately, he basically kind of said he saved her from getting gang raped by raping her himself. Wow. Yeah, that's a T. So Kwame brought that up. And when Kwame brought that up, Kevin Hunter came through with a recording that he had of the victim's mother saying the only reason why he got that lesser charge was because she didn't let her daughter testify because she was afraid of his power.
When are we talking? Is he Charlamagne? Is he?
I think he was still Charlamagne at some point. I think he was still Charlamagne. Y'all, if y'all got the dates, let me know because I really don't have the dates and I don't want to be lying. But the mother said she didn't want the daughter to testify. For her own sake. This is not the first time this has happened. This has happened in the R. Kelly case when children do not testify. There's a number of reasons why these things happen. For protection, for, you know, people are scared, whatever. So that's how he was able to get off on a lesser charge. It was like something with a juvenile, like, you know, it was a lesser charge. well, everybody knew what the hell happened. And back then, remember, things went a little differently. Now the state will charge you now. But back then, that's, the victim had to kind of come forward. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people were saying Kevin Hunter, like, the black men, even when I posted we were going to talk about this, black men are like, no, why don't you talk about this one, the white man who's raping girls? Why don't you talk about this one? No, Kevin Hunter is trash. He's only saying that because he doesn't like Charlamagne. It's like the opportunity, like kind of like the Kevin Hart thing. Like, why are you using this time now to bring this up? But for me, when it comes to victims of sexual assault, the ends justifies the means. For me, I don't even give a fuck why people are talking about it. It's like, to me, what are we going to focus on more when it comes down to that issue? Why it's being brought up now, or the fact that it is being brought up now and that we know this? How about we just hold this man accountable for doing something freaking horrible?
I think, okay, so I'm going to say what I believe is happening. And this is even a conversation that I've realized in talking in the different communities outside of the black community with so many issues happening in the world. We're the only community that really holds our people accountable. I honestly want to say we as the black community, our greatest gift and also our biggest flaw is that we public hold one another accountable. And because we're the only group that does that, we are never able to criticize, critique, and hold other groups accountable because all they do is throw it back in our faces. And because they don't stand tall on holding the people within their communities accountable, it then becomes third-party information. We speak on it that they list as propaganda. Great example is Harvey Weinstein.
That's what they were saying that I should speak about.
And the reality is, if the goal is to tear down powerful men based on the sexual assault, misconduct, harassment, and rape and everything, it shouldn't weigh heavier for Bill Cosby or for another black person than it does for a white person. Why it does? Because the white community doesn't hold these white people accountable. And
but the white women were I feel like...
No, white women are going to come out and say what happened to them, but the white media, the white institutions, the white figureheads are not going to...
The bosses are not going to...
So here's name... What white men are we saying who are Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, who are speaking negative about Harvey Weinstein based on what happened to these white women? Like, where does it's always going to be the black guys that come out and be caught the worst things in the world because they still buy black women when some nigga did some fuck shit. So I think that it's two things happening at one time.
And two things can be true at the same time. But I do not feel, I agree with you wholeheartedly, right? But that doesn't mean we should stop.
I don't think that it's about stopping. I'm thinking that if the conversation is about rape, then black women shouldn't just care when it's a black man. Y'all should tear Harvey Weinstein ass up.
I think
and
that
all these other motherfuckers asses up because it's still girl code, right? Women code don't stop just. Well,
so here's another team. Black women are tired of fighting for white women. So that's one level of it. It's kind of like we have stock in our own communities. Unfortunately, black people have the most stock in their own community. So that's why we're holding each other accountable. Like Charlamagne is supposed to be a figurehead, right? And it's kind of like look, and by all means, you can change. And I want to say this, and I think with Joe Budden, that's the issue. When you don't have changed behavior, it keeps coming back to you.
I mean, but then...
Charlamagne could have changed, right? Could have. But he still was on the radio after that talking about his sexual exploits and misconducts.
But then the conversation becomes...
Look at the eyes, what?
If the conversation then becomes, when are you vindicated off of what you did? So
Should you ever be vindicated for rape? That's the question.
If you paid your debt to society and you were held accountable for it, yeah. Like, I believe in the Most High God. And
how do you pay your debt to society?
If you go to jail or if you commit to doing it, the moment you admit to what it is.
Well, he didn't go to jail.
But he admitted. He never said he didn't.
But in a laughing matter, like a ha ha ha, like yeah, I put things in girls' drinks. So, that's not paying your debt.
That means that we gotta do what? Fix the system. Because if I go to jail and say, or if I get accused of doing something and I say, yeah, I did it, and they give me a lesser charge for saying, yeah, I did it, I said I did it.
Oh, it's 10 o'clock. All right, guys. Oh my God. Okay.
Well, we got a little bit of
We got a little bit of time.
I personally think that at some point, and no matter what it is that you do, you have to repent to the Most High God, and you should be vindicated.
I need to see him repent. You know what he did? He went on the radio and gave himself Donkey of the Day for getting in Kwame's business. He did not go on the radio and give himself Donkey of the Day for dealing with minors.
So
and that's the problem for me. And that's the problem for me.
Everybody should.
No, women are talking about it.
Okay, I'm going to leave here and look into the details of the case. I want to know exactly when it happened, how long ago it happened, what were the
but then
realities of
also
what happened.
listen to some more interviews because there's more than that just happened. That was the one that he, actually had a legal case for, but he's talked about other issues in a laughing manner, in a joking manner, about the way that he skirt-tailed and got women drunk in order to take advantage of them.
So why is he here in jail? So to me, this is.
I don't know why. I'm not a lawyer and I'm not a police officer.
To me, this is the moment when I say, as the black community, as much as we want to hold each other accountable, it has to be to a resolution. It has to be to an absoluteness. Mm-hmm. Meaning, we just can't want to go public and defame.
Do you guys think that Charlamagne should be like canceled? Do you think I don't know if he can be locked up unless he goes in and says lock me up.
Because if he's saying that he got women drunk,
only if they have a case for it though.
If he is saying that he got women drunk and there are not women going up and saying, yeah, I'm the bitch, I'm the one, he did it to me, let's lock this nigga up. What are we doing? Power 105 is on 6th Avenue. Go down there and protest. And I just think that we got to get to an absoluteness when it comes to how we're going to remove specific people out the paint.
I hear you, and I'm not thinking that you're wrong. I think,
and then I also think we need facts. We just can't go off of information and headlines or Kwame Brown saying some shit and his niggas pulling up cases.
He pulled up the case. He definitely pulled up the case. No, he came with the smoke. He came with the smoke. That's how I knew the charge, but I forgot the name of the charge because he was like, okay, I'm gonna get the charge right. He definitely came with the case. It's open record. He came with the case. And that's why Charlamagne apologized to him. But he didn't go in there and apologize for his past misconduct.
So here's this. So if the past misconduct came up and he's already paid a debt to society for it, why does he have to apologize for something
he didn't pay the debt.
So if a rumor about me years ago comes out now, that means that I gotta apologize for some old shit that I already apologized to whomever that
he never
chick
apologized.
was or whatever it was.
Why do you keep saying he apologized?
So he never apologized to who?
You saying he apologized. He didn't apologize for what he did.
When? Just recently?
Ever.
How do you know that?
He never apologized.
How do you know that?
He only sent cease and desist. I'm telling you, he never apologized. Look it up. You can look it up.
He never apologized and sent the cease and desist to the victim that this thing happened to.
Yes, he's been trying to shut the victim up ever since. And anybody else who's come up.
So then
it went off. Okay, we still have here.
Which one?
This one.
Okay, yeah, so let's just wrap up. So, obviously, this is how the topics with us go. The live is done. Traditional Millennials, new episode, new look.
Thank you for joining us. And,
my God. We'll get to it. So next episode, we're going to follow up. We're going to get to the paperwork.
We're going to get the facts for Charlamagne.
And if the goal, my last words are, if the goal is to hold our community and people accountable, let's make sure we do it with the proactiveness to remove motherfuckers all the way out the paint with the information we need to do so.
I like that.
Because none of this is accountable and acceptable.
I like that, and I'm here for all the details, and I want to know more.
Yeah, for all things.
Yes.
We out of here.